Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Marvel Monday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the X-Men 3-pack MojoWorld. Thank you for watching this video or any of my other videos that you may have run across, which I hope is all of them. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. And with all that said, let's get into it. Let's begin our sweeps week with a look at the packaging. And there's several parts of the packaging to look at here. They really kind of outdid themselves on this, the packaging department did. First we have Dazzler's package. And as you can see, that's kind of peeled up, but it's supposed to look like that. And it's actually embossed, at least around the edges. So it's very nice and has a good feel for it. And then here we have some details here on the side, like some venting on my side. So I guess what this is supposed to be is like one of those old school puffy stickers that somebody stuck on the back of the remote. That's right, her box is a remote. Here's the battery pack, and the buttons are all embossed, so they're raised up. And this part is raised up, but the X-Men is it's part of this raised up piece. It's not raised up by itself. And then, you know, here's the infrared transmitter and a piece of tape. And so, you know, it's very, very cool. I was really surprised by them when I opened the box and saw this in there. I was like, what? That looks like a remote. What the hell is it? And then I flipped it. Oh, it's a Dazzler. So, you know, that's this packaging is very cool, in my opinion, especially if you remember this kind of thing that's like the TV Guides, the MojoWorld Guide, but it's like TV Guide. Lucky Star betting it all on Longshot, and then we're showing Longshot and Wolverine, his smallest role ever. So it's one of like the X-Babies, Wolverine there. And then on this side of it, you can see there's pages. You know, they printed the page lines in there, and then, you know, the spine of the book. MojoWorld Guide, November 1985, The Return of Longshot. And then there's some legalese stuff down there. And then on this side, you know, this is the cover and the spine. So on this side is pages, and then there's spines for two other guides. And we have MojoWorld Guide, December 1989, Mojo Mayhem, and March 1992, MojoWorld. And then here is the cover for that. The potentate of programming takes over the airwaves. And I do believe the dates that are printed on here probably have some kind of impact. Which March 1992 is probably when Jim Lee's X-Men run featured 2 or 3 issues of Mojo. I want to say it was around issue 5. I could be mistaken. December 89, and I'm not sure when those ran, but it was probably MojoWorld was probably the name of that storyline. Mojo Mayhem was probably the name of the storyline for December of 89, and Return of Longshot was probably the 1985 story run name, the name of the story. So, you know, it's really, really cool. Which I know that some of you guys might not remember TV Guide. And then here, of course, the main packaging. And, you know, it looks like an old style dial-tuned television, even though it came with a remote. So that's neat. And I mean, even right down to the wood grain, because they used to have wood grain stickers on them, and that runs all the way around. And it does have this like half, well, not even half, like maybe quarter sleeve here, which you just slide off to reveal the whole box. And this has a warning: don't stick things in your pie hole that doesn't belong there. And then Marvel Legends 4-and-up Hasbro print, assortment number. And on the back, it shows you the contents: Longshot and his accessories, Marvel's Mojo and his accessories, Dazzler and her accessories, and X-Baby Wolverine. Marvel small print stuff made in China, Marvel print, Hasbro print. So that's for the little sleeve. And then here on the TV, it's actually, the box is embossed. The X-Men here is embossed, along with this toggle here, and all these toggles are embossed as well as the channel dials, which are actually double embossed. They're here at the edge, and then here at the where you would hold the dial, and that's on both. And then the speaker is also, like, you know, it's each individual piece here is embossed in there. So it's really a cool packaging. And here on the bottom we have a barcode and recycled. And then, you know, on the sides and the top, all the way around, it's just this faux wood grain, like the TVs used to have on them. And then there would be the base of the TV. And then on the back, not even product shots, we have artwork. So that's cool. And I didn't really say about the artwork here on the front. This part around the screen here, this is all embossed as well. And then we have this nice artwork, MojoWorld, which is also embossed. The characters and everything are not embossed, but nice artwork there of them. And it's even got a bit of the, you know, the old school TV lines in the packaging. It's quite an impressive package. So then back to the back, of course. You know, here we have nice artwork of Mojo surrounding his background with television images of Longshot, Dazzler, X-Baby Wolverine, and even himself. And here it explains: MojoWorld is a pocket dimension ruled by the tyrannical TV impresario Mojo, who set his sights on the X-Men as his next big star. And that's true. He was obsessed for a long time with the X-Men, and probably still is. With Longshot and the mutant hero Dazzler now in his clutches, the television tyrant scuttles one step closer to his ultimate goal: total ratings domination. And that's not all for the packaging, my friends. And there I go bumping the camera because, you know, what's a Digital Caveman Presents video without me bumping the camera? Here's the insert that everything in the box was in, all the extra cardboard bits and bobs and stuff. And again, here we have that nice artwork of the characters featured in the pack on these large television screens and all these cables and stuff in the background. It's really, it's very nice. And a lot of thought went into this packaging, and for one, I really appreciate the extra thought that went into packaging. Yeah, I know it's just some junk between yourself and the plastic crack on the inside, but you know, it's a lot of thought went into this packaging, and I do really appreciate it. So kudos to the packaging team that worked on this at the Marvel Legends, on the Marvel Legends team. So great job, art department. That, my friends, does it for a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figures and accessories. And we'll start with ex-baby Wolverine. I don't know how much I would call this a figure. No movement of arms, legs, no waist. But the head is on a ball joint. And it'll go down that far. It'll go up that far. And he'll do the full Exorcist. And he's got some waggle in there. Waggle, waggle. And no chicken neck. Now, as far as accessories for him, he's got peg holes in his feet. He's got the stand that has pegs on it. They just port in, and then he will stand up. Without the stand, he actually will not stand up. So there is that. Next, let's move on to the Dazzler, Alison Blair herself. And we'll start with a look at her accessories, handy dandy tweezers, and you know, I'm sure these hands have been around, so to speak. So nothing new there. And these, well, I don't reckon you really call them blast effects, light effects. You know, it's really nothing new. Now the paint on, you know, it's got some paint on it this time, which is a little different than what we normally get with these, but there's two of those. And let's take a look at Alison herself. You know, overall it's mostly molded in color, a little bit of paint apps here and there. So, but this is mostly how I remember her from the Jim Lee issues that she was in. And the head sculpt is nice. I don't know, it's looks a little odd. I don't know what's off about it because it has very nice paint apps on it. I mean, the eyes are nice, the lips are nice. She's even wearing makeup, and her eyebrows are painted correctly too. So that's not something you see every day in a Marvel Legends with the makeup. Even heavy eyeliner. And the eyes even came out nice. So, very nice on the paint apps here. The hair is all molded in solid color. A little bit of a wash probably would have been nice, but I think it's really, I don't think it's all that necessary because there's no problem seeing all the sculpted detail in the hair. And of course she's wearing her Rambo headband. Let's take a look at her articulation. Started to say accessories, but we've already done that. So she can look up that high. She can look straight down. She's got some chicken neck going on. And waggle. And she can do the full Exorcist. So that's pretty good. Oh, and I forgot to say, nice tampo there of the Dazzler star, I guess. At the shoulders, 360 degree rotation, no butterfly. However, she reaches pretty well past 90 degrees. Cut at the upper bicep for 360 degree rotation, and it feels, you can't really hear it, but you can feel it when you turn it. It's like on a soft, ratchety thing in there, which, you know, instead of it being round, it's probably an angled peg and hole there. The new, well, I don't know if I can still call this new at this point, but double hinged pinless elbows on a female character. 360 degrees at the wrist on an in and out hinge, and in and out hinge also on the other arm. Cut here where the chest meets the abdomen. It does give you a full 360 degree rotation, along with a lot of hula side to side. Crunches back that far, crunches forward slightly. At the hips, She'll give you that much of the splits. Kicks way up, wow. And back that far. Cut at the upper thigh for another 360-degree rotation. Double hinged pinless knee. Gives you that much bend. At the ankle, tilts down that far. Tilts up that far, so pretty good range there. And forward-facing pin for rocker. Alright, that does it for a look at the Dazzler. Now let's take a look at long shots accessories. Here we have an open splayed fingered hand, and as you'll notice, this is a new mold. At least as far as I know, I don't think we've seen this before, because long shot only has 3 fingers and a thumb. So nice attention to detail there. And again, same details here. And I don't know if this is all new or if it's just a modified hand, but I would think it would be all new. And then he also comes with this nice big knife. And as far as the knife goes, he has a nice sheath here on his leg. And let's see if I can get it in there. There we go. All in there. And it stays. So that is pretty darn cool. Now let's take a look at the rest of the figure. Nice sculpt on the face again. And you know, the eyes really stand out. No, you know, he's not wearing makeup like Dazzler because he really shouldn't be. But he's got his full-on mullet going on there. And again, no wash to that, but there's, I mean, the details don't really need a wash to help stand out in either of these figures' case. I mean, it's nice. And he's wearing his jacket. It's got a zipper that's painted. His star symbol there. And for the most part, everything else is just black plastic. Except for the neck, and I do believe the neck might be a separate piece. It is a separate piece, so that's nice. I don't know how much it's going to add to the articulation. You know, we've got some paint here on his little knives that he keeps in this bandolier. 3 missing. No, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 missing. And that's because they're in his hand. And so there's paint there. And then, you know, his buckle and his belt pouches, the buttons for his belt pouches, you know, nice paint apps on that all the way around. So they really didn't skimp. I mean, not that there's a lot of paint apps on this guy, but, you know, it doesn't feel like they skimped out on it for him. So I think a lot of this guy is all new. I don't know right off if I see anything that has been previously used. There's probably is some, but I don't see it. So let's take a look at his articulation. Because of the hair and the collar, he doesn't really look up very much, but he gets that much. Down, wow, he looks all the way down. He's got some waggle in there. He's got some chicken neck going on. And it ain't the easiest thing to do with that collar and the mullet, but he can do the full exorcist. No butterfly in the shoulder, but it will rotate 360 degrees. And he gets about, not quite 90 degrees raised up there. Cut at the upper bicep for full 360 degree rotation. Double hinged pinless elbow. 360 degree rotation at the wrist on an in and out hinge, and that's the blade hand. And again, 1, 2, 3 fingers and a thumb. And on this side, in and out hinge as well, and 1, 2, 3 fingers and a thumb. So nice attention to detail when it comes to that. He's got this classic Hasbro ab crunch. Crunches forward that far, bends backwards that far. So that's really a pretty good range of motion there. 360-degree rotation at the waist. Now let's see if I can remove the knife. Alright. At the hips, he can give you that much of the split, so that's pretty good. More than some Spider-Mans get. He can kick forward about a 90-degree angle and backwards that far. Cut at the upper thigh for a full 360-degree rotation, and that one's pretty tight. Double hinged pinless knee, so again, very nice. It's not a make or break, but it's nice to have when they remember to include it, or decide to include it, not necessarily remember. So, oh, I forgot to mention that's not attached, other than it's just on there. So you can move that around if you want to a little bit. Did I say? Yeah, 360 degrees there. Double hinged pinless knee. At the upper shin, boot cut for a 360 degree rotation. Ankles tilt down that far, tilt up that far, and forward facing pin for rocker. Again, it's very, very nice. I really think this is all new mold for long shot. I ain't gonna swear to that, but it feels that way. Now on to the main event, Mojo. And I know some people you've probably already seen videos of the single release from Mojo, but so I don't know how much different this is going to be. Probably mostly just paint apps. And speaking of paint apps, I mean, that looks great. All the little doohickeys holding his eyes open are painted. The teeth, his spots, you know, there's some paint in here with this silver, which I think is all paint too. I don't think this is molded, because I don't see like the swirly twirly look to it. I could be mistaken, but you know, there are some nice paint apps in there, so that's very nice looking. I think they did a fabulous job on this set so far. Again, on the hands, the spots are painted in. His fingernails are painted in, and just like Longshot, 1, 2, 3 fingers and a thumb, because they're from the same pocket dimension. I think they are anyway. Again, nice spots. 3 fingers and a thumb, painted fingernails. Both hands, or spare hands, are on in and out hinges, and they're fairly tight. Now, let's talk about Mojo a bit. He does come in the box in several pieces. The pieces being the base here with all the legs on it, his stomach piece, his upper piece, the chest piece, arms and head all come together in the box. Then we have these 2 hoses, which are removable. This back piece to the chair, and then the scorpion tail piece plugs into that. So, and as far as the figure goes, I mean, just paint apps everywhere. You got some paint apps here on the back of the chair. I mean, there's just paint apps everywhere here. All of his spots. Again, the same details on the head as are on the spare head. And, you know, even some paint apps here for the top of the scorpion tail weapon piece. So overall, I mean, just nice paint apps. And I mean, right there, back here, back there. It's just, there's a lot going on this guy. And no paint apps on the bottom, but you know, who's going to be looking at the bottom of it? But to help support it, the legs won't support the weight of it. And even though like the belly is all hollow, except for the core of it that has the piece that connects this top piece and allows for its articulation, you know, it's hollow. And it's like soft, rubbery for the most part. There seems to be like some ribs in there to help maintain the shape maybe. And then these pieces right here are part of the base, and they're soft plastic, and you do have to kind of maneuver them just a little bit to get that stomach section plugged in. But you know, the legs aren't quite strong enough to support all the weight, and it has a nice heft to it. So it does have these three clear pieces to help support the base. Now, as far as the articulation goes, I'm not going to go over all of these arms or legs down here, but we'll look at a few of them. And I mean, the articulation that should have went into the Iron Spiders Waldos, this is where it went. Okay, so you've got an up and down, or a hinge here that plugs in, and it does spin 360 degrees. Then you have a joint here for that up and down, and it also spins 360 degrees. Then another joint here, and it also spins 360 degrees. And let's see, the claw even has a spin to it, but no, there's no ball here, so there's no up and down or side to side for it, so it does just spin. And we'll just go over one of these legs because this will cover all of them. But same here as here, it will spin all the way around. It goes up that far, it goes down that far. This joint here, it'll go straight out there, and it'll bend down that much, and again it spins around. And same for the end joint, but it will go up that far, it will go down that far, and again, you know, it does have that 360 degree rotation. And there's 1, 2, 3, so 6 legs and 2 arms, and they are all equally articulated. And it is, I mean, it's just great. Fabuloso. Then at the arms, well, there's nothing here at the waist. At the upper torso, there's a hinge there, so it kind of hoolas around there, and it'll spin some, or twist some, not spin. So it does have somewhat of some articulation there, and it's okay, because he's mostly going to be facing front anyway. And I'll unhook this hose. At the shoulder, his arm will do full 360 degree rotation. It will raise up right out 90 degrees, cut at the upper bicep for a full 360 degree rotation. Oops. And double pinned, or double hinged pinless elbow, and it will give you, let's see, it's tight, but it will give you that much bend. Then at the wrist, in and out hinge again, and 360 degrees of rotation. At the head, he can look that way, and he can look that way, and it doesn't, he can look up a little bit and down a little bit as far as his chins will allow. And as you can see, the hoses do pop out, and as far as how they connect, they just plug in and plug in, plug it in, plug it in. And then as far as the tail goes, I don't know if they really intended it to, you know, it can go spin that far, and then equally on the other side, unless you do that and pop it out. And just to show how it goes together, just pops right back in. But no satisfying pop to it when it does it. But there we go. And there it popped out again. So if you need to take it apart, that's how you do it. You spin it around. And there is some articulation up here. It's on a ball joint, so it goes up that far, down that far. It does spin all the way around. It has some hula to it. Go left, right, up, down, all around. So there we go. Let's go ahead and pop this hose back into position. And there you have it, my friends, the MojoWorld 3-pack figures, accessories, and articulation. Awesome! Now it's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And unfortunately, Mojo is so large, he takes up my whole turntable. So, at least for his comparisons, we're going to have to do it old school. And let's start things off with the only other Mojo figure that I know of that exists, the old Toy Biz Build-A-Figure Mojo. And I will have to say, one thing that you can really say about these Build-A-Figures from the Toy Biz days is the paint apps on them are just crazy. And I mean, if you look at the paint apps on this guy and the paint apps on this guy, I mean, you know, there's no comparison. I mean, this guy looks dirty, filthy, slovenly, and this guy's like, he took a bath today, but he hadn't took a bath for like 6 months on this side. And I mean, and even in the wire hairs and stuff there, I mean, there's detailed paint apps on there. And this one on his throne chair leg thingy, he has this. He has the same clear pegs to support it because these legs are only articulated at this point. And I mean, even look back there. So I mean, the Toy Biz had the paint app stuff down. And as far as the articulation goes, he's not articulated here or at the head, basically just at the arms and at these points of the legs and these arms. But and again, like the paint apps and the tail thing. And I mean, so I definitely have to give Toy Biz their kudos for their Build-A-Figure from back in the day. You know, this guy definitely outsizes it. He out-articulates it. But as far as the deco goes, this guy takes the deco. Because he is decoed to the extreme. But I still think this one is going to take the place of this one in my display. So, but still, you know, some of these Toy Biz, and even the sculpt on that Toy Biz Mojo is pretty darn good. It's just, this guy really takes it in size and articulation. And it's not to say that he doesn't have, you know, plenty of deco. He does plenty of deco. He just doesn't have as much paint deco as the old one. I don't know why I did that, because we got some more comparisons for Mojo. Here is Mojo with the Marvel Legends MODOK. So, pretty cool still. And for our final comparison with Mojo, I just couldn't resist. From Star Wars The Black Series, here we have Jabba the Hutt. Yeah, I could definitely see these guys hang out together at some crazy wacko bar. And we go, wires falling off again. And as far as how he compares up with other stuff, making his cameo appearance, here's Stan the Man Lee. Here is the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander. Also from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch scale comparison, here we have McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse 3 Jokers, the Joker, the Clown. And that, my friends, does it for Mojo's comparison. Here's MojoWorld Dazzler next to the X-Men Retro Carded Dazzler and the Marvel Legends Warlock Build-A-Wave Dazzler. Disco Dazzler, I like to call her. With the disco chain and stuff. And as you can see, the Retro Carded and MojoWorld, you know, there's a lot of similarities between their costumes and stuff. So they're different enough, though, to warrant both, in my opinion. Here we have the MojoWorld long shot next to the Toy Biz long shot, and on the end, Hasbro Marvel Legends Shatterstar. And as you can see, there's a lot of the same paint apps on both of the long shots. But it just seems like the Toy Biz has a little bit more, especially around the face area. Here we have Longshot and Dazzler with Stan the Man Lee making another cameo appearance. Because he's Stan and he can. How do Longshot and Dazzler stack up against other lines? Let's take a look. Here they are with the Star Wars The Black Series Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper and the Hasbro exclusive Regal variant G.I. Joe Classified Series Cobra Commander. And I don't know why I stumbled over all that, because I say it so very much. And for a 7-inch comparison, here we have McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse 3 Jokers, the Joker, the Clown. For final thoughts on the MojoWorld Multipack Hasbro Pulse exclusive, at least I think it's a Pulse exclusive, I'm pretty sure, I have to say this whole set has pretty nice paint decos when you look at some of the basic Marvel Legends figures, which I don't know why I should call it that. None of them are really basic. But this set seems to have a lot more paint apps than normal. And, you know, maybe that's where some of this extra cost comes from for this set. I really like the Longshot figure. He's been a long time coming for a Marvel Legends figure. I don't think he's had a Marvel Legends since the Toy Biz days. I could be wrong, but I think that one Toy Biz figure was the only Marvel Legends figure that Longshot ever had. The Dazzler figure is just different enough from the retro carded figure to warrant her inclusion in this set to me. Now I know as far as the storyline goes, you know, she was an integral part of it because she had stayed in MojoWorld with Longshot. Let's talk about the weakest part of this set, the ex-baby Wolverine, which is basically, I swear it's just a Funko Pop. Is how it feels to me. And if you collect Funko Pops, I mean, you know, to each their own. It's not my bag. I don't really care for the super deformed style on things, but that's just me. Your mileage, of course, may vary, and that's fine. If you collect Funkos, then enjoy what you collect and collect what you enjoy. And as far as the main feature of this set goes, Mojo himself, I think this is a very good attempt on Hasbro's part. All the sculpting looks nice on it. It has nice paint apps. Of course, nothing like the Toy Biz paint apps, but you know, things are what they are, I suppose. They went all out with the mechanical leg and arm articulation, and this is the type of articulation Iron Spider should have had in his Waldos. Is what this has, every joint articulated. And I really like this Mojo figure. He is definitely large enough. He is definitely well sculpted enough to take the place of my Toy Biz Mojo in my Marvel Legends display when I get it back up, that is. And again, you know, Allison is different enough from her retro release to warrant her inclusion in this, as well as being a big part of the storyline. Now, the one thing that is missing from Dazzler in both this set and the retro carded figure is at one point she was shooting hard light beams out of her fingers. You know, she'd hold her fingers like she was, you know, making a gun, and would shoot hard light from her fingers. And you know, I guess that's really missing from both of these figures is a hand that signifies that portion of her power, and even a blast effect. So I don't think this is the last time we're gonna see a version of Dazzler popping up. We might see this body again more in the style of the retro, maybe with that head or a similar head to that, to signify from when she was with the X-Men during, you know, after the fall of the, during and after Fall of Mutants, and I think slightly before that as well. And during, you know, the Outback years, when her and Longshot really became a thing. Well, that, my friends, does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it, because I enjoyed making it. This is a fabulous set, and I think, you know, my final say on this guy is, you know, if you like the X-Men, if you are an X fan, this is a definite pickup. If that's all you collect out of Marvel Legends is X-Men, you definitely need this set. If you're not so into the X-Men, maybe, you know, this might be a pass for you, but you know, it's not every day we see a Longshot, even though we do have one coming down the road in, you know, the retro line or retro carded Marvel Legends for the 60th anniversary. There's another version of him with the his symbol over his eye. You know, it lights up when he uses his luck power. And that's, I think, other than the head sculpt, I think it'll probably be exactly the same as this one. Which they could have solved all that by just including an extra head in this set, Hasbro, instead of ex-baby Wolverine. But, you know, it's neither here nor there, I suppose. But, you know, if you're into X-Men, this set is definitely for you. Thanks for watching. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews, or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.